Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. There's so much going on. There is a lot. But like I always want to do is to get to the deeper level of everything. And I think with this video, I've somewhat tried to make that correlation between something that is a scam and then something that is completely legitimate. And you'll see this comparison when you look at the same thing or something that is very similar between Meghan and Pamela Anderson. And that's what I'm going to be talking with you today about. It looks like the scam that Meghan is perpetuating is something that is at a level that should be, I believe, concerning to all the taxpayers in the UK and the Commonwealth. But that aside, I'm going to look at these two comparisons and just kind of give you my take on it. So let's get into it. So Meghan Markle always wanted to be connected to a position that she could use long-term, long enough to be attached to it, but then to be able to have an exit plan later once the connection had been established. And it's no different than when she married Trevor Ingleson and the marriage was going well as far as Trevor was concerned, but Meghan wanted out. She made the connection to someone within the industry. She found success and she just simply married her ring back to this man and she was done with him. No explanation, nothing. Because there was nothing that she could say that would legitimize a break from Trevor. So that's why it was so abrupt. It didn't make sense because she just wanted to now be disconnected from something that had already given her an establishment of the industry, because he was within the movie industry, a producer. He helped her to an extent, but she needed that break. And so she didn't have a legitimate break. So she did something completely nonsensical, married the ring back, and never wanted to be with this man ever again. And that makes complete sense when you're someone like Meghan who wants to use the connection and then once it's been established to completely disconnect from it. It's no different than what happened with Meghan and her connection to the monarchy, right? Because you cannot position yourself outside of a system while still benefiting from everything that system actually gave you, okay? But she wanted to do that. She didn't have a legitimate break to distance herself from the royal family. So what did she do? She made up this whole racism claim. And we know it was contrived. We know it wasn't legitimate, but that's what Meghan did. Okay, we've seen her do it in the past. She's done it now, and she will do it again. You just watch, Harry. Okay. But you can't have distance and dependency at the same time. That's what Meghan wanted. She wanted to have this distance, this non-connection to royalty, but still be dependent on what it provided her. And they're still providing it for her, although it may look like they are not. They are. Now, this is what Meghan has now with her role within the British royal family. All you have to do is look at the British monarchy's website to see that she is still connected to the royal system in name. But I doubt the royal family would allow the redefining of the word duty. But that is what it appears to be when you look at what Harry and Meghan have currently. They have this half in, half out kind of system going, even though it was not allowed by the Queen. So they had to make the break, right? But she's still connected to it via Harry. They're done with their Australia trip. The bigger picture here is how Meghan is scamming women on the backs of the monarchy and her connection to it. Loosely put, this is what I see. Pamela Anderson did a completely legitimate event that was so much more well received and a lot better. And I'll explain that to you here in a second. But I wanted to look at what one user on X wrote. They said, if any woman actually signs up and pays for this scam of a S show, I completely give up hope for all humanity. Another said, who in their right mind would put themselves into debt for this? Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. But let's just look at what we have. We have one country. We have Australia. We have two American women who are known by their name. Okay, so two women, two events. same concept of empowering women. But the results, not even close. Because while Pamela Anderson filled a room with over 2,000 women, Meghan Markle struggled to sell out a much smaller, high-priced event. She did not sell out her event of 300 women. It was less than 300. If you look at this room right here, this looks like about not even 100 women to me. Okay? And when you break it down, it's not just about numbers. It's about value. Let's start with Pamela Anderson, okay? Her event in Australia, completely packed. It was energized. It was accessible. Over 2,000 women showed up, and not for exclusivity, but for connection, inspiration, and a shared experience. Listen to what some of these women had to say.
She's an icon. She's a legend. I can't wait to see her in person.
Is her animal welfare work, how she's so authentically herself, and she is an inspiration to all women, young and old.
I think that she came from the most humble beginnings, and she has taken everything that she's done in her life, and she's now come back to the humble beginnings, which I think is the most amazing thing. I think she's beautiful.
She's just so authentic now. I think as she mentioned, she's taken all of her trauma and all of her life experiences, and she has compiled them into what is truly authentic for her right now, and it actually shows.
I don't hear any remarks about Meghan's event, at least not from looking online. Maybe if I dig, I can find it. As a matter of fact, I saw complaints from the supporters of Meghan saying that she was only there for 2 hours, which is, yeah, she was only there for 2 hours. So it looked like it was a movement, Pamela Anderson's event. It looked like it was something that brought a lot of value. Women were engaging with it. They were listening. They were participating. And that is impact. That is substance. That is something that brings value to want other women to join such a movement. Now let's look at Meghan Markle's event. On paper, it sounds similar. A woman-focused experience, wellness, empowerment. But then you see the price tag, thousands of dollars, and suddenly the entire vibe shifts. Because here is the difference. Pamela's event said, come as you are. Meghan's event said, can you afford to be here? Can you afford to be here? Do you know who I am? That's what her event sounded like. And the audience, I believe, they noticed that. One felt inclusive while the other felt exclusive. One felt like a community, the other like a brand activation. Yeah, you got some jam? You want some of my jam? You want to buy some of these clothes that I have to sell that I'm wearing? Because I'm wearing it, you should want to buy it as well. But let's talk about what people actually got. Now, at Pamela Anderson's event, it was a very large-scale engagement, huge venue, real audience interaction, a shared collective of energy. It felt something like you were a part of. Now compare that to Meghan's event. For thousands of dollars, what do you get? You are getting a curated experience, controlled environment, and very polished image. Another woman who had signed up was rejected, refunded her money because she was a journalist. No journalist allowed at Meghan's event because they don't want full transparency. They want something controlled that they can manipulate, that they can make you feel like you're a part of it, but you're really not. One of those experiences. But the question that people are actually asking is, where is the substance? Because let's be real here, folks. If you're charging premium prices, people expect premium impact, not just aesthetics, not just branding, but something that actually moves them. And right now, people are saying Pamela Anderson, she delivered that, and Meghan did not. And here's where it gets really uncomfortable, because Pamela Anderson, someone who has reinvented herself over time, she showed up and she connected with thousands. She's no longer the old Pamela Anderson. She is a much more wiser, much more purposeful in what she does. I love her new less makeup, less cover up, her more real transparency in her look. It's inspiring. She doesn't have a title. There's no prestige branding around her, just pure presence. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle, who has one of the most recognizable titles in the world, couldn't generate the same level of turnout or energy. That says something. Because this isn't just about events, people. It's about authenticity versus perception. One woman built an experience that people wanted to be a part of. The other built an experience that people had to just justify for paying for it. And those are two very different things. So the question then becomes, are people rejecting Meghan Markle, or are they rejecting the version of empowerment that comes with a luxury price tag? I say they're rejecting both, because this is what Meghan stands for. She stands for the high price, less connection, more curated presence to make you see something pretty, but when you go behind the curtain, it's ugly, it's nasty, it's not authentic, and it certainly does not feel real or you have a connection to it. Because Pamela Anderson just proved something very simple. You don't need exclusivity to create impact when you are real, when you're able to just show up and people want to know more about you. You just need connection. And that's what Pamela was able to give to women. Pamela filled a room with over 2,000 women. Meghan charged thousands of dollars and still couldn't fill the room. That is not just a difference. That is a statement. And that statement that Meghan and Harry are sending is this. It's on the Monarch's website. And Harry and Meghan are still listed as members of the royal family. And then my question becomes, why? Is this the new image of royalty that the monarchy is starting to approve of? The monarchy needs to disconnect from the image that Meghan and Harry, for that matter, are starting to portray to the public. But congratulations to Pamela Anderson on a very well done event. Even though Meghan does have the backing of the monarchy, she also has Marcus Anderson, for that matter, helping her. So women were scammed. They were scammed into an event that Meghan did. With all that backing she had, she still couldn't do what Pamela Anderson was able to do so effortlessly by living just a pure, authentic life. And that is an American woman I want to know more about. It's a difference of doing things. And Pamela did it well. Meghan did not. And with that, I shall see you all in my next video. Cheerio.